UFC 302 goes down this weekend with a really fun fight on the top, as it is Islam Makhachev going up against Dustin Poirier for the UFC's lightweight championship. In the co-main event, it is Sean Strickland taking on Paulo Costa. So, what are some of the storylines that I am watching coming into this one? Well, for Makhachev, it's simple, and it seems premature, but it is about legacy. He is the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the UFC right now, in my opinion, after back-to-back wins over Islam Makhachev. And when you are #1 and you beat #2 back-to-back times, I think you get to lock into that spot at #1. But the critics will say that his two biggest wins have come against a guy who he generally is bigger than. And one of those fights was coming off of short notice. Now, he did dispatch of DeBronx and kind of start this era, but this has a chance to add another legendary name to that resume and continue to build up what is already a pretty impressive run here for Islam Makhachev. So it feels early to be talking about legacy, but I think that this is going to be a dominant champion for a long time, and he has an opportunity to really add to it very, very quickly. Not to compare the two, but kind of John Jones-esque, where he came in at a time at 205 pounds where there were still a lot of legendary names who were still viable threats, and he made them seem like they weren't because he kicked the shit out of them, but he built up that resume really, really quickly. And now, when you think about what you have here in a Makhachev with an opportunity to beat Poirier, we'll see if Holloway wants to stick around at 155. You also have the potential for a Chandler if he beats Conor, and we'll see if Conor wants that smoke at 155 pounds. We'll see what ends up coming from that. But there is, I think, quite a few contenders. There always is at 155 pounds, but there's a lot of big names that Makhachev can add to that resume very, very quickly if he actually is that guy. For Poirier, it's legacy of a different kind. The Undisputed Championship is the only thing he has yet to accomplish in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. He has done it all. There is no question this is one of the great fighters of his time, especially at 155 pounds. But that Undisputed Championship has eluded him. He's lost to Oliveira in a title fight. He's lost to Khabib in a title fight. No shame in that game, but you still haven't been able to break through to that undisputed level. And smart money would suggest this is his last crack at it. And quite frankly, this feels like a bit of a hot shot anyway. Now, he's won 2 of his last 3, again, and one of them is against Michael Chandler, who we just listed as a guy who could be a title challenger. But this is, I think, the last opportunity for Poirier, and it feels a little hot shot anyway. That's why I'm saying, the UFC, I think they understand that A, you have a massive draw in Poirier, and B, the clock be ticking on that a little bit. So I think they are really using this as an opportunity to give this guy one last crack at that, again, legacy-defining fight. In the middleweight division, it is Sean Strickland going up against Paulo Costa. Strickland coming off of one of the more impressive wins in UFC history, where he outpointed Israel Adesanya, followed that up with a loss to Dricus du Plessis, and has lost his middleweight championship. For Strickland, coming up this Saturday at UFC 302, this is all about how do you handle that loss, because this was an extremely quick rise to go from, oh yeah, this guy basically feels like a mandatory title challenger in boxing, to, oh my god, this guy beat one of the greatest middleweights of all time, and now he sits atop, and then he lost. And so it's a really quick rise. Does he stay at this top level, a la Chael Sonnen for a long time? Or is it rise and then back down to kind of the middle of the card? He has been able to talk himself, for better or worse, and I would say substantially worse, into a lot of opportunities. And so I think his mouth will kind of keep him there. But in terms of relevancy for a championship, you can't lose to Paulo Costa. You simply cannot. And so this will, if this is a loss this weekend, then it is just like one of those exaggerated bar graphs where it is up and down right away. If he can win this, it's still dropping, but it's steadying a little bit. We'll see how he can handle that coming up this Saturday. And for Paulo Costa, this is it. This is last chance saloon, in my opinion. He's lost 3 of his last 4. His only win is against I don't want to say washed up, but a past his prime, Luke Rockhold. Now, he's lost to some very good fighters, but if Paulo Costa has any hope of getting back into title contention, that this has to be a win. If he wants to get back into relevancy in this division, this has to do it. Otherwise, I would imagine it's PFL for him following this one. I don't see I don't see that guy anymore. I think he gave his run to Israel Adesanya, and then all the stuff after about how he was hungover from wine and all of that. It really makes you question a lot about this particular fighter. So what's on the line this weekend for a couple of these fighters is legacy, and for Costa, it's relevancy.